Okay, so a big struggle when it comes to AI OnlyFans models is that you jump on Instagram, try build an audience, but you get the wrong audience. For example, if you're trying to build a US audience and you get an Indian-based audience, that's obviously not good for your marketing for multiple reasons. Now, this method here applies to any niche. This can be building up an Instagram theme page. This can be building up your personal brand. This can be anything, but I'm going to apply it to AI OnlyFans models because that is what I teach on this channel. However, if you're not in that industry, don't worry, this still applies. I'm also going to apply it to the US and a US audience. You could apply this to goth girls or Pokemon nerds. I don't really care, but I'm going to apply it to if you wanted to specifically target a US audience. How do you do that with AI models? Obviously, a big problem is when you try to build up a US audience and you fail and you instead get an audience largely based off Brazilians or Indians or anything like this. So, our agenda for today. What not to do, how IG targeting works, how you're going to actually do that, and is it possible to get 100% US audience, US culture, and can you ban different regions? So here are some don'ts. Do not worry about these. Do not worry about VPNs and proxies. There's a lot of varying opinions. A lot of people will tell you different, but don't stress about VPNs or proxies. It doesn't actually apply to Instagram. Bots. Don't bot your account with followers. Don't try buy likes from US. This doesn't work unless it's 100% organic, unless you're buying real shout outs from real US based audiences. SIM cards, US SIM cards are pointless. Apply for TikTok, but not for Instagram. Buying US accounts, unless you're buying a account which already has an existing audience on there. Buying an account that's just made in the US is absolutely pointless as well. So don't bother with that one. So how IG targeting works. Now I want you to forget how TikTok targeting works, how fucking Twitter targeting works. I don't care. This is about Instagram. Instagram targeting is based off of interest and engagement based on the people who are interacting with that content. So interest, people from the US need to be showing an active interest in that area or niche that you are posting in. So if you're posting about the US election and using related words and key phrases to do with the election, such as Donald Trump or whatever, this will bring an audience of people who are engaging with people, which also include those keywords. So Donald Trump, bang, that's our keyword there. Other people who are interacting with content to do with Donald Trump will also see your content. Also engagement. Engagement is huge and based on who engages with your stuff. So engagement, this can be anything. Likes, comments, people that save in the post, people that are sharing the post to their friends, profile clicks, so if someone clicks on your profile from that video. Read more, so if you have a big caption and people have to click read more and they actually have to actively scroll through there, not only will this make them replay that video again and again while they're reading the caption, but also it's an interaction on your page. They're clicking read more. Clicks on the sound, if they're clicking on the sound that's attached to that reel, and remixes of your reel. If it's controversial, they're replying to it, or yeah, whatever. That's all interactions and engagement. So if that is people from the US, doing that, that is obviously going to attract more of a US audience because Instagram is seeing, oh, people from the US love this content and are engaging with it and therefore want to push more engagement towards you by giving you more US people. So how do you target them, or what do you include in your content to target them? So we've established that VPNs, SIM cards, all that shit don't matter. It's actually about the content that you're posting itself. So let's say, for example, we have more than the US here. English speaking. These are the three biggest English speaking kind of markets that you can get. Obviously add Canada onto that or whatever. However, UK, Australia, USA are the kind of main free audiences that we can push with this. So English speaking, if you just post English speaking content, it's not just going to obviously affect USA people because more countries than the USA speak English, hence the name English comes from England. But yeah, UK, Australia, USA, you're ticking all those boxes. US humour, now obviously the US, yep, big tick, but the UK and Australia, yes, we have more kind of, I would say a better humour, but I'm biased, but it's a different type of humour, and they're very similar humour kind of bases, but US humour is very different. So will people from UK and Australia like that? Yes, some people will, but some people won't. So that's a maybe. That's what that orange traffic light symbol means. US elections, believe it or not, people from the UK and Australia also have, for some reason, interest in the US elections. So that's also a maybe. Not everyone, but that's a maybe. So that's not a direct way to target just the US. But let's look at specific things that only people from the US will engage with. Alabama news. So if you're posting fucking news based in Alabama, I don't know, a crocodile fucking ate someone, although that is quite entertaining. I'd probably engage with that. Yeah, that's only going to apply to people from the US, because why the fuck would me based in the UK care about some woman being stabbed in Alabama? I don't give a fuck. However, people from the US, that's more kind of sacred to them. It's more relatable to them. And UK and Australia, I'm not going to give a fuck. I don't care. So I'm not going to engage with that. So UK and Australia, if it's specifically about a town or a specific area in the US, that's obviously going to affect people in that area more than those outside of it. So that's going to attract a US audience. I don't know why I used this one, but this one just came to mind. Second Amendment, I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't care. I'm from the UK, if you couldn't tell. And I don't know what that is, and I don't care. So if you're speaking about that in your content, that's obviously going to attract more of a US audience rather than, a UK, Australia audience. Because if you're talking about that, we're kind of lost. We have to either pull up Google, or maybe you know what it is, but it's not really relevant. I don't give a fuck. In-N-Out Burger, this is just a random example, but this is something that only exists in the US, I believe. I Googled it, whatever. This is a restaurant that only exists in the US, so if you're talking about it or talking about something specific that they do on, like when you order with In-N-Out Burger, let's say they did a stupid dance when you order with In-N-Out Burger in front of your table, right? Let's just say, for example, you did that, and you speak about that in your content. Now, no one outside the US knows that because they've never been to one, or unless they've been to the US, obviously, but ignore that. Never been to one, so they don't know what happens when you order an In-N-Out Burger. So it's almost like an inside joke. Only people from the US are going to understand that, if that makes sense. So can we reach a 100% US audience? Impossible. This is impossible. And there's a few reasons why. One, other countries take an interest in the US for some reason. Well, there is a reason. The reason is because the US is a massive staple mark in English-speaking culture, and everywhere around the world kind of looks up to the US. It's, the biggest economy, the biggest kind of entertainment industry in the world, like Hollywood. That's fucking huge. All the movies come from US, so everyone has an interest in US, if that makes sense. You're also using attractive women, if we're speaking specifically about, AI models. People from India are going to be interested. People from fucking Thailand are going to be interested. Everyone likes attractive women. Okay? That's just a fact. There are also more countries on Earth than America, obviously. Now, that's kind of a dig at people, but some people do think that the world revolves around America, whereas realistically, no one outside really cares about it, apart from, slight interests in culture and things like this. But can we 100% reach a US audience? No, because the chances of that happening when the US takes up such a small portion of the world's population is completely impossible. So these are how we can actually apply the US audience to our AI models. So I've spoke about kind of generalized points, Second Amendment, that's not really relatable to AI models. You can't really use that in your content too much. But let's say you're posting reels to do with US sports. No one outside the US cares about NBA, NHL, NFL, or the baseball one. I don't care. No one cares about that. So if you're posting about that, or posting about a specific team or specific player, like for example, Tom Brady. I know Tom Brady is like a huge staple mark, even like Michael Jordan, huge staple mark in US culture, and everyone in the US like thinks they're gods. Me from the UK, I don't know what they look like. I know what sports they do because I into sports somewhat, but I don't know anything about them. I never watched them. I don't know what they look like. I don't know what team they play for. But if you're specifically talking about players, teams, games that have happened, results in US sports, that is only going to attract a US audience. Patriotism. Use the US flag. So I'm going to pan the camera around. I have an English flag, right? People from the US are very patriotic. If you're using US flags in the background of your video, let's say I had one behind me now. If I had a US flag, it would attract more of a US audience on Instagram because people from the US are just going to like the content instantly if you have a US flag, just because that's how they are. They're patriotic. Identity. This is more to do with kind of that Southern culture. But for example, if your model's wearing a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, I can't think of any more examples, but that's just one example. This cowboy kind of culture only exists in the US. So having your model wear those things is going to engage more of a US audience, obviously. US slang. Using US slang, I can't really think of any at the top of my head, but one that comes to mind is y'all. Like you use y'all as in like you all, or basically addressing multiple people. Y apostrophe A-L-L, y'all. It's weird as fuck, but only people from the US use that, or they should anyway. I know that some UK people, fucking weirdos, use that, but only people from the US should use that. So using that in your terminology on your reels and your captions, this is going to give you more of a US identity and therefore attracts more of a US audience. Bang. I think that's quite clear. Can you ban Pajit traffic? Now, this is not racist at all, I promise. I actually like Indian people. However, there's a common name for Indian or kind of Asian-based audiences in the OFM space, OnlyFans management space, and it's called Pajit traffic. Can we avoid this or can we ban this? The answer is no. There's no way to ban a region of the world on Instagram, unfortunately. So the idea is, I think some people get this idea that you can just ban every other region apart from the US or apart from, US, UK, Australia. Realistically, as AI models, we want all of those free. So it's not too much of a difference, but US is always a banker. But can we ban Pajit traffic? No. We can just target away from them. That's all we can do to that. I know that a lot of people actually spend time scrolling through Instagram banning people from India. I think that's fucking stupid. And in fact, a lot of my highest spending customers that I've found have been from India. Of course, there's way more time wasters. There's way more people that want free shit from India. Don't get me wrong. But there are rich people in India. You just have to find them. And yeah, a lot of people in India have a lot of money. And although they're not easy to find, and they're probably not, spending their days scrolling through Instagram and FanView, they do exist and they do spend a shit ton of money. Now, if you want to get into the AI model game, if you want to start AI OnlyFans, anything like this, I have a $47 course. This will teach you in depth a lot of marketing methods, obviously how to create these AI models and how to sell their content and how to make a shit ton of money from that. So if you're interested in that, $47, that's cheaper than your fucking Big Mac meal, not literally, but it's very, very cheap for the value that you get. You can set up a whole business based on this $47 course, and therefore it is 1,000,000% worth the money, as well as a huge community of students who are also on this journey of making AI models and networking with each other, making friends, always a priority in any industry that you're in. So, description, course, my socials are there. Join those. Bang. Hope you enjoyed.